Welcome to A Perfect Touch. I'm Jeanette. The 1930s wardrobe needed several more hats, and one day I came across this reproduced Vogue pattern number 5260 on eBay. I loved the easy look of the hat, and I also needed a bag. Of course, as my wardrobe plan was black and white with flashes of red, the red illustration caught my attention. A bit of research, and I found the pattern listed on vintagepatterns.fandom.com with the following description. Vogue 5260, circa 1944, hat and bag. Hat in one piece, draped crown and rolled back brim. Pouch bag with loop handle, drawn through buttonhole opening. Featured in Vogue magazine, May 1945. I wrestled with this pattern not being exactly in my 1930s era, but I decided I love the style, the pattern price is right, and I ordered the pattern. It is a true reproduction of the original, with all the original instructions. My plan for the 1930s wardrobe project was to source patterns and fabrics for a capsule wardrobe with items which could be mixed and matched, would pack and travel well, and could be worn again in costuming or as modern clothes. The event for this wardrobe was scheduled for cool October weather, and a mid-weight black velveteen was sourced to be used for trousers, jodhpurs, and an evening gown. After planning for those garments, there would be bits left over that were perfect for this hat and bag. The pieces for the hat consist of a main body, facing, lining, and bow. All main pieces are cut from the velveteen, and the lining is cut from a printed cotton. A piece of light crinoline is also cut from the facing pattern piece. The crinoline is basted to the inside of the hat body at the side and lower edges. The side seam is sewn as marked, and the seam clipped where marked on the pattern. The facing is sewn at the upper edge and clipped and pressed as indicated on the pattern. And if you're starting to feel like there are a lot of marks on this pattern, you're exactly right. The facing is now sewn to the hat body at the lower edge and at the opening. The seam trimmed and turned to the inside of the hat. The upper edge of the facing is basted to the hat main body. The lining seam is sewn. The lower edge seam allowance turned in, and the lining hand-stitched to the facing. The hat is creased on the roll lines indicated on the pattern for both the peak and the facing. The facing is turned up. The peak is tacked to the start of the V opening, and this is where a bow could be placed, but I had an embroidered velvet button and I used that instead. I adore this jaunty velveteen hat. The bag is simply two sides and a loop. It will close with a zipper. Two pieces of light crinoline are cut, one for each side, and basted to each side. The loop is folded in half, right sides together, stitched along the long edge, the seam allowance trimmed, and the loop turned right side out. The ends of the loop are basted to the outside of one bag side, as marked. The two sides are sewn right sides together at the upper edge, leaving the opening for the zipper, and one smaller opening, which will later become an opening for the loop. The zipper is sewn into the opening. Now the remainder of the bag is sewn together, leaving another small opening on one side for the loop. The bag is turned right side out. The loop will thread through the small openings left at the top and side once the bag is complete. Yes, velveteen fibers everywhere. The lining is sewn from the patterned cotton, leaving the same openings for the zipper and the loop. The lining is slipped into the bag, the seam allowances turned in at the zipper, and the lining stitched to the zipper. The outer fabric and lining are slip-stitched together at the two small openings. The loop is threaded through the openings and pulled to close. The loop fits nicely over the hand, wrist, and arm, is pulled loose to unzip the bag but doesn't have to be removed from the openings to access the zipper, and it is the perfect size for phone and other items. The hat and bag have a lot of structure, but fold perfectly flat for travel. I wore the hat with a red snood as part of a sports ensemble of parachute silk blouse, split skirt, vest by YouTube creator Maki of Engineering Knits, and a Schiaparelli tie. I think Elsa would have adored this hat too. Fun stockings and shoes, the 1930s bra and tap pants, the Kestos garter belt, all which I've shared in other blogs and videos, and this Vogue bag complete the outfit. The bag became my go-to for this trip as it held everything I needed for the day. Here, I wore it with a black velvet beret and a 1920s Paris promenade dress from a folkwear pattern. Made for a heavenly-themed event, it has glow-in-the-dark fabric, and I presented as the constellation Scorpio. I thought it perfect for this day at Illuminations, the Queen Mary II Planetarium. This bag crosses eras beautifully. Millinery can be a daunting craft, but this hat and bag are an easy project for the most novice of customers. Thank you for being here, and please watch for more 1930s projects.